Tonight,
flooding is a really significant challenge for us here in Hartford.
Tonight on Connecticut's news station, fed up with flooding, some residents in Hartford are once again voicing their frustrations ahead of tonight's storm.
And preparations underway along the shoreline to deal with that rain and incoming strong winds. We have live team coverage tracking the latest.
And a new report sheds light on the state's child care crisis. We're breaking down what's working and what researchers say still needs to change.
Plus, new details surrounding Jennifer Dulos, why a judge has decided to legally declare her dead nearly 5 years after her disappearance.
Fox 61, Connecticut's news station, begins with a Weather Watch alert.
And we are in that weather watch alert tonight, but not for snow this time. There's rain and wind making its way through the state right now. Good evening and thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. The rain is expected to wash out all that snow we just got only 2 days ago. We have live team coverage, though, tracking the latest conditions outside from Hartford to the shoreline. But first, let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank for a look at the forecast and what we're seeing out there right now. Hi, Rachel.
The rain has started all across the state, but the heaviest is yet to come. We are talking about a wind-driven, heavy rain, rapid snow melt through the overnight hours, the potential for flash flooding, and also for scattered outages. So unfortunately, multiple threats here on the table. There is, and I want to mention this briefly, in the hills, still temperatures lingering near freezing. Those numbers are rising, though, but still a few icy spots in part of the hills for the next, let's say, half an hour to hour or so before we're able to get everybody fully above freezing. So use caution there in northwestern Connecticut. Otherwise, look at the waves of rain that we're going to get through, just a wall of water heading this way. So the timing of this is pretty fast. So the worst between 9 p.m. and around 4 o'clock in the morning. By daybreak, this whole system is out of here. 2 to 4 inches of rain plus snow melt, gusts 40 to 60 miles per hour, and minor to moderate coastal flooding that will peak during high tide. That will be around mid-morning tomorrow. Taking a look at the future radar, noticing that rain gets heavier as we head towards 9, 10 o'clock, and it will be wild. You might wake up in the middle of the night with the worst winds right around that time frame. You could even hear a rumble of thunder. And here's kind of the back edge of the heaviest stuff. This is 3 a.m. and by daybreak, it is out of here. Here's a look at temperatures across the state, and we expect these numbers to climb into the 40s and even the 50s as we head towards daybreak tomorrow. We'll get you through the future and talk about the follow-up storm as well and what tomorrow morning's commute could look like coming up.
All right. Thank you, Rachel. It's been about 2 days since the last snowflake fell, and already we're gearing up for another storm. This one is bringing a different form of precipitation, and that's rain. Fox 61's Matt Karen is live in Hartford, where officials are warning folks to prepare for flooding now. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Sarah. You know, normally when we're talking about flooding in Hartford, we're talking about the North End, we're talking about the Blue Hills neighborhood. But, you know, with tonight, as much rainfall as we're going to get, couple that with how much snow is already on the ground as we speak, Hartford officials are worried we could see flooding in the West End and even in the downtown area. And one area they're particularly concerned about is where we're live right now. This is Chandler Street, right in front of the A.I. Prince Technical High School.
Hartford alone can't solve these problems.
Just over a week on the job for the capital city's newly minted mayor, and Arunan Aralampalam is asking for help.
We need some help from the state and federal government to make, because it can't be made purely on the backs of Hartford taxpayers.
Hartford's drainage system was built for a bygone era. The stormwater and sewage pipes are combined. When the system gets overwhelmed, backflows of raw human waste end up in basements.
Clean out your gutters or your drains is not enough. We need a leader to stand up and say, okay, we have to fix these pipes, because we're not seeing sewage overflows in any of the other MDC towns.
This year, the Metropolitan District Commission will start work on 6 new projects designed to limit the risk of backups. And state lawmakers have already set aside $170 million for the work. But advocates like Bridget Prince told Fox 61 the flooding has created urgent health disparities for Hartford's black and brown communities.
You're dealing with sewage contaminants that are now causing diseases that have been unaddressed and untreated.
As so-called 100-year storms grow in both power and frequency, so too does the pressure on Hartford's leaders to tackle the issue head on.
We're dealing with a larger volume of water than what we've seen historically for storms that we wouldn't normally see.
City officials are also putting landlords on notice.
To landlords out there, I would ask that you make sure to look at the flat roofs in particular in your buildings if you have that. They are not meant to hold standing water.
And urged residents to stay vigilant.
Please, turn around, don't drown.
And even since the 5 o'clock hour, the rain has started to come down a little bit more steadily here in Hartford. It's not just the rain that we're worried about, though. City officials tell me the capital city could see wind gusts of up to 50 miles an hour. Mayor Aralampalam telling me that the flooding issues in Hartford are a, quote, really significant challenge. Reporting in Hartford, Matt Caron, Fox 61, Connecticut's news team.
Matt, thank you. And when it comes to wind gusts and coastal flooding, southeastern Connecticut could see some of the strongest parts of this storm. Fox 61's Julia LeBlanc spending the day in New London to see how they're getting ready. And she joins us now live on Broad Street with what she found out. Julia.
Hi, Brent. Good evening to you. Now, right now here in New London, conditions are looking okay, but those wind gusts are definitely starting to pick up a little bit. I actually just had to ditch my umbrella because I was having a Mary Poppins moment because of it. And we're also starting to see some of that rain come down as well. And here in the city, if you do see a lot of rain in a short amount of time, unfortunately, there are some problem spots like on Broad Street here where you could see some flooding. But city officials assuring us if that happens, they're definitely ready for it.
We'll be ready for it tonight. We know which areas to address.
Tom Curcio and his crews have been prepping for this storm for days now, not only in his role as fire chief, but as the city's emergency management director.
We knew there was a storm coming, and we just go through the same thing all the time just to make sure everybody's up and ready to go.
All day Tuesday, public works crews are sweeping city streets, clearing catch basins, and loading their trucks with equipment. And tonight, different departments are doing double duty.
We're going to have 3 additional personnel in a special vehicle tonight to respond to any wires down or pump outs if we need them.
And here in the southeastern half of the state, strong wind gusts and the risk of coastal flooding are top of mind. But New London is in a bit of a sweet spot.
With the coastal flooding, there is really only 1 or 2 spots where we have to worry about it. The topography in New London is fairly steep, so we don't have coastal flooding problems generally.
It's when there's a lot of rainfall in a short amount of time, though, when issues start to rise, like right here on Broad Street. It's an area where Mayor Mike Passero says the city has improved the drainage system, but it can only do so much.
We're expecting 3 to 4 inches of rain. If it's spread out over an hour or 2, we can handle that. If it all comes in a half hour, then there's really no stormwater system, I don't think, in the world that could handle something like that.
In the case of flooding, crews will block off streets like this one to cars. They're asking neighbors to heed those warnings.
If you know you're headed into like a flooded area or you see water in the street, don't proceed. Don't drive around the trucks. Don't drive around the police cars, the fire trucks. We're there for a reason. We're blocking the street.
Now, one thing Chief Curcio says will be working in our favor here when it comes to this storm is that the worst of it, as you heard from Rachel, will probably be happening overnight when not as many people are out on the road. But when you wake up in the morning, and if you do work overnight and have to be out on these roadways, he is reminding all of us that if you come across a live wire, a downed wire, do not go near it, turn around, and call 911. For now, we're live here in New London tonight. Julia LeBlanc, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Thank you, Julia. Important information there. Connecticut's news station has you covered on everything when it comes to tonight's storm. For the latest radar, hour-by-hour forecast and rain totals, download our free Fox 61 News app. New here at 6, a small plane makes a rough landing at Groton New London Airport. Fire crews share these photos from the scene now. Officials say the plane landed safely after an issue in flight, but did not specify what that issue was. The 2 people on board were not injured. The airport, though, is still open.
A former elementary school teacher in Plymouth will not go to prison after being accused of sexually assaulting several of his students. James Eschert had previously pleaded guilty to charges of risk of injury to a child. Eschert had been accused of inappropriate conduct with several students as far back as 2016 and 2017. A judge ordered a suspended prison sentence for Eschert, meaning he won't serve time. He will serve 5 years of probation. A Webster Bank employee is accused of taking money from customer bank accounts in Kent. Police say Aaron Parsons is accused of taking cash withdrawals from 5 accounts, totaling more than $100,000. Parsons later told police that once he withdrew the money, he would deposit it into his own bank account for his own personal use. Parsons is being held on bond tonight.
Police in Farmington are investigating a string of burglaries, all in the area of Yukon Health Center on Farmington Ave. The first happened on December 27th at the Farmington Village Mobile, then on January 3rd, where there were 2 burglaries just minutes apart at the Quick Stop Sit-Go and the wine cellars. Police say all 3 incidents appear to be similar. The suspects broke into the businesses through the front doors and took cash from the registers. They also took cigarettes and alcohol. Anyone with information that could help police should give them a call.
One person is dead after a crash on I-91 in Hartford overnight. Police say a car rear-ended another after it suddenly slowed down near exit 29A just before 3 a.m. The driver of the car that was hit suffered minor injuries, and their passenger, Paula Garcia, was pronounced dead on scene. The other driver was not injured. Anyone who might have witnessed that crash should call state police. And we now know the names of the 4 children who died in a house fire in Summers last week. 11-year-old Lucas, 9-year-old Genevieve, 7-year-old Benjamin, and 5-year-old Archer were all part of the Koropatkin family. They were killed in a fire at a home on Quality Avenue last Tuesday. Visitation for the children will take place Thursday starting at 5 p.m. at Leet Stevens Funeral Home in Enfield.